Los Angeles, 8 p.m. The atmosphere outside Le Soleil was electric, flashes from cameras, luxury cars pulling up one after another, and an air of exclusivity that made even the sidewalks feel off-limits to the average passerby. The restaurant wasn't just a place to eat, it was a symbol of prestige, where every meal was a statement and every guest carried an unspoken authority. Inside, chandeliers cast a warm golden glow over the tables, their crystal facets refracting the soft candlelight. The hum of murmured conversations and the gentle clinking of silverware created an elegant symphony of wealth and refinement. For the patrons of Le Soleil, this was not just dinner, it was an experience, a carefully curated escape from the mundane. Then, the heavy oak doors swung open, and the illusion of sophistication shattered. "OMG, guys, you will not believe where I am right now." The voice was shrill, exaggerated, and unmistakably theatrical. Lana Devereaux, better known to her 3 million followers as Lana Lux, had arrived. Clutching her phone at the perfect selfie angle, she panned across the room, broadcasting live to an audience hungry for drama. "Le Soleil is the most exclusive restaurant in LA, she declared, her voice dripping with self-satisfaction. "And obviously, I always get what I want." She strutted forward, every step deliberate, her designer dress shimmering under the chandeliers. Platinum blonde waves cascaded over her shoulders, framing a face sculpted by meticulous contouring. But despite her carefully curated appearance, the most striking thing about Lana was not her beauty, it was her ability to command attention, even when it wasn't wanted. Scanning the room for reactions, she frowned. Most guests barely glanced her way. A few raised eyebrows, a quick flicker of recognition, but no adoring fans rushing up to her table. It wasn't the response she had expected. "Guys, do you even realize how much it costs to eat here?" She flipped open a menu, running her manicured nails over the gold-embossed lettering. "The cheapest dish is basically my trainer's rent." She let out a practiced laugh, fully aware of how her audience would eat up the casual display of excess. The live comments flooded in. "Huh, Lana being Lana. Luxury queen, take me with you. Expose them if the food is trash, babe." Encouraged by the engagement, she summoned a waiter with a sharp snap of her fingers. The young man approached, his posture immaculate, his uniform crisp. "Good evening, madam. How may I assist you?" Lana didn't bother looking up from her phone. "Okay, so I need a dish that screams expensive. You know, something that just looks ridiculously rich on camera. But without that whole fake luxury vibe, you get me?" The waiter hesitated. I'm not sure I understand, madam." Lana rolled her eyes. "Oh, sweetheart, don't overthink it. Just get me whatever looks iconic, okay?" Ever the professional, the waiter composed himself and nodded. "I would recommend the truffle filet mignon. One of our finest dishes." Lana turned to her audience. "Alright, let's see if this place lives up to the hype. But just a heads up, if it's not divine, I'm totally dragging them on my story." As the waiter disappeared, Lana refocused on her screen, keeping the energy high. "Babes, leave a like if you think these places need to earn their luxury status. Because honestly, nothing's worse than overpriced cafeteria food." The comments poured in. "Yes, queen. Hold them accountable. Huh, I love when you do these raw reviews. OMG, imagine the peasants gasping RN." But amidst the sea of eager replies, something shifted. A different conversation began to unfold. "Wait, who's that guy in the background? Does anyone else think he looks familiar? OMG, Lana, turn around." Lana, still basking in her self-importance, remained oblivious. She had unknowingly caught someone on camera, someone who would change the entire course of her night, and worse, she was about to make the biggest mistake of her career. Lana continued adjusting her camera angle, ensuring her face was perfectly lit. The gleam of gold-trimmed dinnerware reflected in her eyes as she smiled at her screen. But something was off. No matter how she tilted her phone, something in the background ruined the perfect shot. A man. A lone diner sat at a table near the back, dressed in a simple dark blue hoodie, completely out of place among the meticulously styled elite. He wasn't looking at his phone, wasn't whispering to a business associate, wasn't even glancing around to see who was watching him. He was just eating. Slowly, methodically, as if the world around him didn't exist. Lana frowned. "Ugh, seriously?" she muttered under her breath. She twisted in her seat, trying to block him from view. No luck. The live chat exploded. "Lana, that guy looks so random, lol. Who let a college student in here? Wait, hold up, does anyone else recognize him?" She sighed dramatically. This was ruining her aesthetic. Without hesitation, she got up, flipping her hair over her shoulder as she strutted toward the man's table. Her camera stayed locked on her face, capturing every second. She stopped beside him, leaning in slightly, her tone syrupy sweet. "Hey there, sir," she began, flashing a carefully practiced smile. "Would you mind moving out of my shot? I'm trying to keep a certain vibe going, you know?" The man slowly looked up from his plate. His expression was unreadable, calm, composed, as if she were nothing more than a passing breeze. He blinked once, then twice, before carefully setting down his fork. Then, with an almost imperceptible smirk, he replied, "The real world doesn't have filters, miss." Silence. Lana's smile faltered for a split second before she let out a breathy, nervous laugh. "Oh. Okay. That's deep." Her followers, however, had no chill. "OMG, he just dragged her. Who is this guy? I like him." "Lana, girl, just leave him alone." She cleared her throat, flipping her phone to show the man on screen. "Guys, seriously, I'm just trying to help this place keep its luxury standard, okay? Like, we all know appearances matter here." The man simply resumed eating, entirely unbothered. Lana clenched her jaw. He had to be doing this on purpose. "Oh, I get it," she said, crossing her arms. "You want attention, huh?" She turned to her audience, eyes gleaming with faux sympathy. "Guys, some people just live for disrupting the vibes, you know?" The chat was split. "Ha ha ha, this dude is iconic." "Lana, I think you're being a little harsh, girl, read the room. You're embarrassing yourself." Lana stiffened. She was losing control of the narrative. Gritting her teeth, she turned back to the man. "Seriously, can't you just move to another table? It'll be quick." He raised an eyebrow. "I like this table." That was the final straw. Lana took a slow, deliberate breath, then smiled in that condescending way only influencers seem to master. "Sir, I don't know if you've noticed, but this is a high-end establishment. We have standards here." The man chewed thoughtfully. Then, after a pause, he repeated, "Standards, interesting." The way he said it made Lana's stomach twist. Determined to regain control, she turned to the camera with an exaggerated sigh. "Babes, have you ever met someone with low vibrations? Like, you can just feel when someone's dragging the energy down, right?" She gestured toward him with a forced giggle. "Honestly, sir, maybe a salt bath would help." The restaurant went dead silent. For the first time that night, Lana felt something foreign creeping up her spine, discomfort, and then, her live chat shifted. "Yikes. That was kinda rude. Lana, that was weird. Wait. Is that?" She frowned, scanning the frantic comments. Then she saw it. "Lana. Get out of there. Now. OMG, you did not just do that. Are you actually picking a fight with Keanu Reeves?" Her stomach dropped. No, that couldn't be right. Heart pounding, she slowly turned back to the man. For the first time, she really looked at him, the soft features, the unassuming presence, the casual hoodie that somehow made him more intimidating than any tailored suit in the room. It was him, Keanu. Freaking Reeves, the blood drained from her face, her hand trembled around her phone. She swallowed hard, praying her audience was mistaken, but then she caught the expressions of the other diners, the hushed whispers. The exchanged glances. The quiet recognition spreading across the room. She had just humiliated one of the most beloved actors in Hollywood. Live.to millions. Lana Lux had spent her entire career curating the perfect public image. But in the span of mere minutes, she had unknowingly set it on fire, and worse, Keanu Reeves hadn't even tried to ruin her. He had simply existed. Lana's breath hitched. Her mind raced for an escape route, but there was none. She turned back to her phone, hoping, praying, that her audience would defend her. But the comments had turned against her completely. "Girl. Just stop. Lana, you just ruined your career. Liv. How do you not recognize Keanu Reeves?" Her fingers trembled as she scrolled. No. No. This couldn't be happening. A cold sweat prickled her skin. She had spent years building her brand, positioning herself as untouchable. She had survived Twitter feuds, fake scandals, and influencer drama before, but this was different. She glanced back at Keanu, desperate to salvage the situation. Maybe if she laughed it off, pretended it was all a joke. "Oh, come on, guys," she forced a giggle. "You're overreacting. Of course I know who he is." She flipped her hair, trying to regain her usual confidence. "Keanu's a cool actor and all, but no one is untouchable, right?" Keanu just sat there. Silent. Watching. He didn't need to say a word, his mere presence was enough to unravel her. The chat exploded. "Oh, she's done. This is so painful to watch. Lana, just apologize." She felt her chest tighten. Apologize? She never apologized, but the weight of the restaurant's collective gaze bore down on her, suffocating, inescapable. The other guests weren't whispering anymore. Some had their phones out, recording. This wasn't just a bad moment. This was history in the making. And then, just when she thought it couldn't get worse, Keanu finally spoke. "You know," he said, his voice as calm as ever, "I never had to beg for attention online to feel relevant." Boom, silence. Lana felt her heart stop. The words hit her like a truck. The restaurant froze, hanging on to the weight of his statement, and then, the chat exploded. Keanu just ended her. "I have never seen someone get destroyed so calmly. Legend. Absolute legend." Lana's fingers clenched into fists. Heat rushed to her face. She had to fight back. She couldn't let this be the moment that defined her. "Oh great, now you're hitting me with some deep wisdom," she scoffed, trying to sound unfazed. "Who do you think you are?" The second the words left her mouth, she regretted them. Keanu tilted his head slightly. His expression didn't change. He didn't look angry. Or irritated, just disappointed, and somehow, that was so much worse. Lana's stomach churned. She turned desperately back to her phone, clinging to her last shred of control. "Guys, seriously, this is not a big deal. Who hasn't messed around a little?" She forced another laugh, but it sounded wrong. The comments had already sealed her fate. "No, Lana. Just no. You literally just embarrassed yourself in front of Keanu Reeves. Log off. Right now." She had lost, and for the first time in her career, she knew it, but she couldn't let it end like this. "You might be famous, Keanu," she sneered, "but I'm the new generation." She turned back to her live stream, smiling as if she was in control. "People like him are over. This is the future." Keanu chuckled. A low, soft laugh, not mocking. Not cruel, just knowing, and then, he delivered the final blow. "The problem with the new generation," he said, lifting his wine glass, "isn't the future they create. It's the emptiness they leave behind." The entire restaurant gasped. Lana's mouth opened but nothing came out. The chat went wild. "No way. Keanu just ended her existence. I have goosebumps." Lana Lux had spent her life being the loudest voice in the room, but now, she had nothing left to say, and then, rage consumed her, her career, her reputation, her power. She could feel it slipping through her fingers, and in that moment, she did the worst thing she could have possibly done. She lashed out, her vision blurred with fury as she swung her hand. They slapped at a desperate, reckless attempt to regain control. But Keanu Reeves didn't even flinch. He simply lifted his hand and caught her wrist effortlessly. Time stopped. Lana's entire body tensed. Her wrist trembled in his grasp. Keanu's grip wasn't violent. It wasn't aggressive. It was just unshakable, and then he let go, not with anger, not with force, but with pity, and in that moment, Lana Lux realized what she had become. The rage drained from her, shame took its place. She staggered back, heels wobbling against the polished floor. Keanu simply picked up his wine glass, took a sip, and went back to eating. As if nothing had happened, the entire restaurant erupted into laughter, and Lana Lux, she had never felt smaller in her entire life. Lana stood frozen, her breath coming in shallow gasps. The laughter around her was deafening, ringing in her ears like a humiliating symphony. Her knees wobbled. The room felt like it was spinning. She had lost, and the worst part, Keanu Reeves had defeated her without even trying. Her fingers clenched around her phone, still streaming to millions. She turned to the screen, desperate for any sign of support. But the chat had completely turned against her. "Girl, just leave. You messed with the wrong guy. This is historic levels of embarrassing." She was drowning. Lana Lux had spent years crafting an image of perfection. She controlled the narrative, bent reality to fit her aesthetic, manipulated her audience like puppets on a string, but now, she had no control. No edits. No filters, only the raw, unedited truth. And then, as if the universe had decided to deal the final blow, a voice sliced through the laughter. "Mississippi." Lana's head snapped up. A man in a sharp black suit stood before her, posture straight, expression unreadable. "The restaurant manager. I'm going to have to ask you to leave." The laughter died down. The restaurant fell into a heavy silence, all eyes on her once again. Lana let out a breathy, incredulous laugh. "You're joking, right?" She crossed her arms. "Do you even know who I am?" The manager didn't blink. "Yes, Miss Lux. I do. And that's precisely why you need to leave." A fresh wave of humiliation crashed over her. She looked around, expecting someone, anyone, to defend her, but no one did. The restaurant guests merely watched. The waiters remained silent, professional, but Lana could see the glint of quiet satisfaction in their eyes. She had spent years treating people like props in her own personal reality show, and now, no one cared enough to stand by her. "This is ridiculous," she snapped. "I'm going to cancel this restaurant. You're all screwed. My followers will destroy you." Keanu, who had been sitting quietly this entire time, finally glanced up. A small, knowing smile tugged at his lips. "Are you sure?" Lana froze. She knew what he meant. Her grip tightened on her phone, flipping back to the chat, and that's when the reality hit her. "Lana, stop embarrassing yourself. No one is siding with you on this. If Keanu Reeves is on the restaurant's side, then so am I." A sinking, nauseating realization crept over her. She wasn't the queen of the internet anymore. She was its villain, and villains didn't get sponsorships. They didn't get brand deals. They didn't get invited to exclusive restaurants or high-profile events. Villains got cancelled. The manager gave her one final, expectant look. "Our staff will escort you to the exit." Lana had no choice. Her humiliation had already been immortalized. She turned on her heel, her expensive heels clicking against the marble floor as she stormed toward the exit. But before she reached the door, the restaurant erupted into applause, not forced, not exaggerated, genuine relief. And in the middle of it all, Keanu Reeves simply continued eating, as if none of it had ever happened, because to him, it hadn't. But to Lana Lux, this was the beginning of her worst nightmare. Lana practically flew out of the restaurant, her heels clacking against the pavement as she stormed toward her car. The humiliation burned hotter than ever. her entire body trembling from a mix of fury and disbelief. Her driver, a middle-aged man in a crisp black suit, glanced at her through the rearview mirror as she threw herself into the back seat. "Is everything all right, miss?" "Shut up," she snapped, raking her fingers through her hair. She grabbed her phone. The live stream was still running, 4.3 million people watching. But the comments were brutal. "Lana just speedran the fastest career downfall in history. How does it feel to lose everything in real time? This is the first time I've actually enjoyed one of her streams." Her stomach clenched. This wasn't happening. It couldn't be happening. Desperate to regain control, she tried forcing a laugh. "Okay, guys, obviously that was all just a joke." Her voice wavered slightly, but she pushed through. "Like, come on. You really think I didn't know that was Keanu Reeves? This was totally staged." The comments weren't buying it. "Lana, just stop. It's over. The way she's panicking right now, LMAO. Sis is trying to gaslight 4 million people at once." Panic gripped her chest like a vice. No. No, she needed to fix this. Fast, with shaking fingers, she ended the live stream and immediately started drafting a tweet. "Speech balloon, people need to calm down. That whole thing was just a PR stunt. Keanu and I are totally cool, guys. No bad vibes here. Love and light sparkles." She hit send, refreshed, waited. The response was instant. "You really think Keanu Reeves would agree to a PR stunt with you? You were literally crying 5 minutes ago. The internet saw what happened, babe. Just log off." Her tweet was getting ratioed, thousands of replies clowning her, memes flooding her notifications, brands quietly unfollowing her, and then, her inbox exploded. Emails, messages, calls, her sponsors, her livelihood. The first email she opened made her stomach drop. "Dear Miss Lux, after recent events, we regret to inform you that we will no longer be moving forward with our partnership. Our brand stands for integrity and respect, and we feel this situation does not align with our values. Wishing you the best in your future endeavors." Lana's hands went ice cold, then another email and another. Every major brand she was working with, gone. Her career was collapsing in real time, and worst of all, Keanu Reeves hadn't said a single word about her. He wasn't posting. He wasn't responding because he didn't need to. His silence was louder than any statement, and that silence, it was destroying her. Lana sat in stunned silence, her phone still clutched in her trembling hands. Her career, the empire she had spent years building, was collapsing around her like a house of cards. Brand deals gone, invites to exclusive events revoked, her follower count dropping by the thousands every minute. This wasn't just a bad day. This was the end. A notification popped up on her screen, a news article already making the rounds. Influencer Lana Lux publicly humiliates Keanu Reeves, instantly regrets it. Attached was a screenshot of her frozen expression from the live stream. The exact moment she realized who she had insulted, she felt sick. No, she couldn't go out like this. Desperate, she opened Twitter again and started typing, "Speech balloon, I've had time to reflect on my actions, and I want to deeply apologize to Keanu Reeves and everyone I may have offended. I was caught up in the moment, and I take full responsibility. We all make mistakes, and I hope to learn from this experience. Love and positivity always." Red heart. She hit send, refreshed, waited. The response was immediate. "Nice try, but we all saw the live stream. You're only apologizing because you got caught. Keanu doesn't even care, and that makes this even funnier." Lana's breathing grew uneven. Nothing was working. A week ago, she had been untouchable. Now, she was the internet's punchline, and then, the final blow. A journalist managed to gain access to Le Soleil's guest book and posted a photo of something Keanu Reeves had written before he left that night. A simple message, scrawled in neat, effortless handwriting. "True influence isn't measured by what you flaunt, but by what you share with the world." The post went insanely viral. Keanu didn't have to tweet. He didn't have to address the drama. That one handwritten note said everything, and just like that, the internet moved on, not to forgive Lana, but to forget her. Her downfall wasn't even a scandal anymore. It was just an old meme, a footnote in the endless scroll of the internet, and out there, somewhere in Los Angeles, Keanu Reeves was still living his life. Unbothered. Untouched, because to him, none of this had ever really mattered, but to Lana Lux, it was the beginning of her worst nightmare being irrelevant.